Welcome to the Plantain App Low-Code Feature Focus. Today we're talking about using a grid with a form as a data source. This is an incredibly easy way to get something done really quick. You can create a form and then display the information on a grid. So let's see how that works. So I started a page and I'm going to add an action form to the page. And we're going to define a pretty simple action form. Drop it here. And we will manage the form. And I'm going to do it as a blank form, and I'm only going to put one field on it. We're just going to collect the email address of somebody. So this will be what we'll call our collection form. And because we're going to use this as a data source, we're going to want to scroll down to the advanced settings and click that we want to enable reports. Now it's going to give us this check all option to save to the report. Since we don't have any fields yet, that's not going to help us. I'm going to add a common field called a text box, and it's going to be the email address. And I'm not going to make any special requirements of it, but I am going to click Save to Report. And let's see, I will make it be a required field. So they do have to put something. Oh, gee, we can also pick that we want it to validate as an email address. Okay, so that's going to collect our data and get it to be saved. So let's see what that looks like. And so I'm going to put in a test email address. And oh, I forgot a button. That's pretty useless. So we'll go back and manage this form. And we'll add a submit button. Very simple to do. So common field, add a button. That's a submit button. That's all it's going to do. It's going to cause the validation to happen. So we'll say save. Now let's try this again. So put in an email address. Doesn't have to be a real one. We hit submit and it takes it. So it's saved. It's saved in the form. So let's take a look at what we're trying to do now. Having a grid that displays data from that data source. I'm going to drop a grid here right next to the form and manage the grid. And for the selection of that, I'm going to say that it's from scratch, and we're going to use a data source, the action form as a data source. The module that we're going to use is our collection form. And that's another reason why it's a good idea to name your form so it's easy to find them. I'm not going to do any filtering, sorting, nothing special here. We're just going to update. And once we do that, it gives us, says that we have the data source available. Now we just need to add fields. And so we're going to select the email address, and we'll also select date submitted. But email address is the only one we added. These other three special fields available automatically. So for the date submitted, we're going to make that to be formatted in as a date in date format that's useful to me. And we'll hit save. And now let's take a look at our form. So we'll go back and take a look at the form. And so now we have our form here, and we have our grid over here. It's got the information. So if we add another one over here, go to gmail.com and hit submit. Now that's going to show up in the data. And the grid has full functionality. If we say Joe, we can search for that. You can do a lot more with it, but that's just the quick start. You can define a form, define a grid that points to the data of the form. The main things that you need to be looking at, though, with the form, you just, on the collection form, you need to allow, in this advanced section, you need to enable reports. Without that, the data will not be saved into the data file that is available to the grid, so you need to enable that. And then on each control, you need to indicate that you want to save it to report. So that's today's low-code feature focus, showing how you can use a grid with a form as a data source. Is there some feature you'd like to see in our next video? Leave a comment in the section below. For more great low-code content, be sure to subscribe to Plantain App.